Hey, everybody. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to try to go live 1 minute before 1 o'clock. And because I always have an issue with the thing not wanting to go live right away. And what does it do? It goes live right away. Oh, well. Beggars can't be choosy at this point, right? Okay. So, anyway, okay. So I today I'm going to be making these cute little axolotls. These are the perfect size for my claw machine. They're actually a little chunky for my claw machine, but they work. I've had a lot of people really like the little axolotls, and so I'm going to make a bunch of these. So these are going to be uh, this week's little critter for my claw machine. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a market on Saturday. I want to do it, but there may not be enough space for me. I may have just waited too late to sign up for it. But I was really watching the weather and making sure that we didn't have the same kind of fiasco, which I haven't told you about yet, um, from my last market. So it was just not really a fiasco, just like the weather. It's just the weather, spring weather. So I have been so on the fence about doing this market because of you know it was recommended to me, and so I was really watching the weather, just hoping that maybe the weather would be decent. And every day I was like checking the weather, so looking at the radar, you know, looking at the hourly, just hoping that it's just not going to rain hard. And I got lucky. I got so lucky. So in the morning, just like right at 6 o'clock, it's when it was raining and it was storming and there was lightning and things like that. And this is a rain or shine event. So this is a farmer's market. It's in the next city over, in the suburb of Mesquite. So I didn't know they had a farmer's market. So I was at the Garland Market, which is where I live, and my vendor next door to me, who has been doing the Garland Market for a long time, she's been doing it for like 10 years. Um, she recommended that I check into this market. And so I did. And it's like $30 for a Saturday. And I'm like, I can swing $30. That's not bad. That's really very affordable. And so I applied and I got in right away because usually it's like 2 weeks or something like that for them people to get to you. That's what it said. Hi, Jackie. I'm doing good. It was okay. I really didn't do anything for Easter. Um, I just kind of chilled. Um, just did some, a little bit of housework. Nothing fantastic, but it was okay. It wasn't bad. Um, Not that I recall. I don't think so. I don't think I did anything smagnanimous. So anyway, so that Saturday morning, the rain came in, and so they said that they were going to start the market later, which is a boon because it was it's to getting to where from here to there it's about 25-30 minutes maybe. Even though I know it's like the next little city over, it's like getting over there is kind of tricky, you know. Hi, Gizmo. Okay, Gizmo, you need to go. I'm sorry, sweetie, but you nasty. I know you're giggling. But you nasty. I'm going to have to 86 you, buddy. Okay, let's see. What am I going to do with you? Okay, I'm going to remove you. Okay, I'm going to hide you. That's what I'm going to do. Alrighty. You know what, Jackie? I'm going to make you a moderator. Yeah. I'm going to add you as a moderator. I usually don't get trolls, you know. Okay. All right, cool. Really? How do I get rid of this person? Timeout. Here we go. I guess I can just put him in timeout for 24 hours. That's all I can do. And I can report him. Okay. Yeah, you time him out for 12. Well, I reported him too. So, you know, it's what you got to do. It's what you got to do. I mean, if you want to go and just be a jerk about it, you know, you can and ruin other people's lives. I can turn around and do the same thing, right? Right. Okay. Anyway, so what I was saying. Okay, so I got to the market. I had my friend pick me up, and his mom was out of town. So I had my friend pick me up, and she took me. And then, so I got there like right at 8:30, and it took me less than an hour to set up, pretty much. And I did everything by myself this time. Usually I have somebody helping me, but this time I just did it by myself. I still pretty much got it, you know, up and figured out pretty easy. My vendor to the right of me was a person selling hand baked, fresh baked sourdough bread. And I did end up buying a little bit of bread from them, and it was really, really good. They had like a cranberry orange bread, and I didn't realize that's what I grabbed, but it's pretty good. And it's almost all gone now. And I'm saving the last little bit for my roommate. And he seems to really like it. He likes dried fruit and things like that. And then the person to the left me was actually a person who I've come across before at the Garland market. So we're, so we kind of like, like little booth buddies, I guess, in a way. And she was next to me to my left, and she showed up like a while after I had showed up, at least a good 30 minutes. And she just threw up her table. She didn't even put a tent up. She just threw up her table and, had baked goods. And she had like cakes and cookies and things like that. And her stuff's really, really good. She's like really good stuff. It's tasty. And I've had purchased, stuff from her. And I actually but I purchased a piece of cake for her because it was not only my birthday on Saturday, it was my roommate's birthday on Saturday. So we have dual birthdays. So, and I gave him that piece of cake. I was going to take a bite, but no, he ate all of it. he's got such a sweet tooth. He's horribly bad sweet tooth. Uh, like none other. If I don't have it in the house, I'm fine. But if it's in the house, I will eat it. And I can, but I have some self control concerning sweets, but not much. Like I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, what do I have? What do I have? I'll eat some honey. I'll eat some honey, and make sure, or I'll eat a piece of fruit, if I really feel like I need to eat something sweet. So I got set up. I know that when we pulled up, there was one other crocheter there, but she was on the opposite side of me. Like there is like a row of vendors here. There's a stage in the center, like stage and tables and things like that. Another row of vendors on the other side of there. And I was on the right side. She was on the left side. I didn't get a chance to walk around much because, again, I was by myself. And so I can only go to like 2 or 3 vendors away. But days turned out really nice. It was kind of cool. It was a little bit breezy, but not bad. They did end the market about 30 minutes a little early because some more weather was supposed to be coming in, but it didn't end up raining. But I had to wait for my other friend to pick me up. And she didn't get out of work until like right at 1 o'clock. So she came and picked me up, and so it didn't even rain at all whatsoever, which is good. And I didn't get rained on or anything. And but I had a lot of people asking me like, hey, are you going to be here next week? And I was like, well, I'm not sure. Right now I'm just vetting this market. And to be honest, I really like this market. I didn't make a lot in sales. And I think partly what it is that it's only the second week that they have been open for the spring, for their market season. So their market season runs from August till November. Not August. I said August, in the April until November. And so I think this is a regular market that I want to be in. I really liked the attention of the coordinator that came through, and she looked like she was on top of her stuff. And they had some good music. They had some live music up there that was, really cool and just, really, really good. They had, some DJ music playing, but they did have a live act, and that was really fun to listen to. I couldn't see who was singing, but they were singing pretty well. And so that was a lot of fun. I really don't have anything super remarkable about like any particular customer that walked on up, and I had a few kids here and there. I only had a claw machine a couple of times, 2-3 times. Usually it's one of my best sellers, but I think these people were just not used to what I had to offer. But there's produce vendors, there was food vendors, there was a jerky vendor that had actually been next to me at a Garland market before as well. And my friend who was dropping me off, she's like, oh yeah, we've gotten his jerky before. And I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, you don't remember you bought me some? And I'm like, oh, that's that person. She's like, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, it's good jerky. So they were across from me. But I had a lot of vendors come in. A lot of the vendors who had kids came in and looked through my stuff. The little girl, the people with the sourdough bread next to me had a little girl. She had been no more than about 4 years old. Sweetest little thing ever, and she was so well behaved. I gave her my last little rabbit plushie, which are about like this big. And if you want to know which ones that I had made, they were the Sweet Softies little rabbit. I've got another one over here, and it had gotten dirty, and it's like its face had like this big old brown spot on it, So I kept it, and I'm thinking about like maybe washing it and see what it will do in the wash. So maybe I can like, you know, sell it again. I don't know. I'll have to try it out. Typically, if I do wash things in the machine, I will put them inside of a garment bag, which I did buy some garment bags over off of Amazon recently, a few months ago, and they're pretty nice. And or that I used to put them inside a pillowcase and just tie the end of the pillowcase and wash them inside of that. But I think the garment bag is better because it's got, it's like a mesh as opposed to a pillowcase. It just lets the water in. The dirt really doesn't really rinse out. So I do suggest to get a garment bag, but if all else fails, you can use a pillowcase. So anyway, in general, I really did like the market. I loved the vibe of it. Everybody was incredibly nice. I was very pleased. The only gripe that I have was getting to the bathroom was an ordeal. Like I mean, I don't think it was any further than me going to the bathroom like at the Garland Market, but it was like the public restroom was like, it was in a weird spot. It was like in this alley, and I was like, that's kind of creepy. And it was like, to get to the public restroom, and it was like, you wouldn't know that it's the public restroom, there. And like, so I had someone try to describe it to me, and I was like, okay, this is weird. But I had a lot of people come up and look at stuff, and I had a lot of people talk to me about crochet. Like, one person was talking to me. She was asking me like how much do you price blankets? And I was like, well, I don't like making blankets. Okay. I've come to this conclusion. They're just so long, and they take so long, and I was like, I can't really tell people that making a blanket is, maybe $200, $300 for just a small one, as and like, I just don't have the heart to to quote that price for somebody, because it's not the cost of the materials that's so much, it's the time. And I told her, I said, look, I pay myself $12 an hour, and I know some people are like, oh my God, that's all that you make. But if I'm trying to keep my prices at a certain price point in which people are going to purchase them, that's what I need to do. And, if I go any higher, I have a feeling that people are just not going to buy my stuff. But still, I did give myself a raise. I went up to a full $12 an hour. Was I $12 an hour? Or am I at $13 an hour now? What is 22 cents a minute? What is that? I don't have my phone with me. Is it $13 an hour? I can't do math, man. There's a reason why I'm not a genius. I can't do math. Anyway, I think it's $13 an hour. I think I went up to $13 an hour. There's my calculator. Skip. Okay, so 0.22 times 60. Yeah, $13 an hour. Okay. Yeah, because I gave myself a raise. Okay. I was at $12 an hour. Now I'm $13 an hour. But still, things are gone up. Like the price of yarn has definitely gone up. I priced out some yarn, and usually in the past, yarn has been 4 cents a gram just for like most of your chenilles. Like, I've just been pricing it out. Yesterday, I priced out some of that squishy yarn by Hirschner's, and that's at 5 cents a gram. If you pay full price for it, it's 5 cents a gram. And so I just had to, it's like, yeah, that's the way it is. The price of everything is gone up exponentially. Even though if I get it on sale, I'm still going to charge the full price of this of yarn. So if the squishy yarn is coming out at 5 cents a gram, then I'm going to charge 5 cents a gram for all of that particular yarn. And so it may, but it's the cost is really almost nothing. It's like 5 cents a gram. That's 5 grams. That's $1. So it's really not that much. And then I give myself a 42% margin, so 30% for being wholesale, and then I tack on another 12% for taxes and credit card fees. And that's my margin right there. Now, if I went up to a 50% margin, definitely everything would definitely be a little bit more higher for sure. But that's what I do. I think it gives my prices a competitive edge, but it's not like crazy cheap, because I've been at markets where somebody's like have like this humongous, thing, and they're selling it for $20. And I'm like, hells no. I'm going to be charging $30 for it, So anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's what I do. That's how I figured it out. I want to do this market again this week, but like I said, I don't know if I'm able to squeeze in. They only have so many spots, but they have like their area. It looks like they can squeeze in an additional, I think they can only maybe have like 50 or 60 vendors there, maybe. Like it's small. It's not big at all. And um I don't know. I'm gonna have when I get off of here, I'm gonna try. I tried figuring out how to log in and see if I can get a spot on my phone before I logged on here, and I'm gonna try it again through the computer, because I had to wait for the computer to be available for me to be able to do anything at all whatsoever. So yeah. Anyway, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do that. And then the next following weekend is going to be the Urban Market downtown Garland, and that is my usual one. And she also went up on her prices. She used to be $65, but now she's up to $75 for her market. And when I tell people that, they're all like, "What?" And I'm like, that's average, because most places actually charge $85. She's actually a little bit cheaper than most. It depends on where you go and what type of market that you're going to. I've done markets where it's only been like, $30, $35. I've been to a toy show. The toy show was actually pretty cheap, but there was just so many toys there that it was hard to compete against other toys. And I didn't have any kind of themed toys. I didn't have anything that was like, like anything that's licensed or anything like that. So that's, I just don't really have those types of things. And also at this market, everything has to be handmade at the mesquite market, which is what I really, really like. Also, they were like being really specific about, they didn't want you to make things from popular YouTube tutorials and so on and so forth. And I was like, that's really, really cool, because when you have crocheters and other people who are doing a lot of things like that, they didn't want everybody to be selling the same thing. And I totally 100% get that. Like, everybody's got an octopus, everybody's got a bee, I did sell a bee this market or the previous market. I don't even remember. I think I sold one this market, and my last regular bee, and what else did I sell? I haven't sold a cow in weeks. Like months. I haven't sold a cow in months, and I've got 3 of these cute cows, and they're like not one person has bought one. So I've got it. Yeah, it's interesting. Every market's a little bit different. But I had some really friendly people come up and talk to me, like people who are like, locals in the area and people who work right there in the downtown area. And they're coming, talk to me and being really friendly. And I was, and then I was telling everybody, hey, this is my reward program. And I've, when you purchase something, I stamp it. You get 5 purchases, you get 15% off. After 10 purchases, you get 30% off. Also, if you follow me on social media, you get 5% off, And so I need to make that a bigger sign. And the thing is like everything I have for all that information is on a cardboard sign. And every time the wind knocks it off. So I don't even put it out anymore. And I need something that's like a little bit more like on a bigger board, and just make it bigger and like have it hanging from the sides of my tent. So, like I'll have something behind me and I'll, or, make it to where people can see it hanging up above the plushies or something, it's like, hey, ask me how to save 5% off or something like that. And then have my QR code available for them to click onto from my link tree and things like that. So it has all my links. And they just have to pick one social media. They don't have to pick all of the social medias. They just have to pick one. If they show me that they follow me, I give them 5% off, which is, I think, a very fair discount, and so that kind of gives me some exposure. And I think it's, a good way of doing that. And, also, when I have the reward program on the back of my business card, people keep coming back to me to see what else that I have, anything new. I haven't made hardly anything new in the last few days. Oh, except for these little axolotls. I've made these. But, and I'm going to I'm going to embroider a little smile on them. But, other than that, nothing new. My kid did come over and we did play with the shrinky dinks. We're trying to figure out how to make my shrinky dinks flat, because whenever I shrink them in the oven, they don't get flat. They'll get all curvy and stuff, and they'll almost flatten out, but not quite. So as soon as we take them out of the oven, we got to flatten them, before they cool down. And so we're experimenting with those. And I told her I wanted her to make me some moth earrings, and because I told her, I said moths are real popular right now, and I would love to have like some moth earrings. And she made me some, and so I haven't they're cut out, they've got the hole in them, but they're not they haven't been shrunken yet. And so we were playing around with it and seeing how get the oven temperature right and how long to bake shrinky dinks, because this is something I really want to get into. Like, I think it would be a good medium to either make earrings, key rings, also to make like, bookmarks, whatever, put tags on some of my animals, because I have something called a snuggle slug, and like nobody knows what it is. And I think I need to put a tag on it or something, and it says like, you're my snuggle slug. And a lot of people just don't know what it is. I've made 4 of them, and only one has sold ever. And I just don't think people know what it is. And it's as cute as can be. I think they're stinking adorable. But again, it's like people don't know what they are, and they're just like, what is that? Oh, it's a snuggle slug, So if somebody, So if I have a tag on it, I think it would kind of free up people asking me what things are. And then I think sometimes people are afraid to ask what things are. I think that takes some of the intimidation out of that as well, if you label it. So I think that's going to be a fun thing to do. Also, I think, for like Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, things like that, that would be a really fun little thing to have for like tags to put on your items, like have a Mother's Day tag. But it could be a removable tag. I've got some of this stuff here. Hold on. Ugh. So this is that elastic gold cording. Okay, so let me see, get a little closer. There we go. I got it from Amazon. So I was thinking about that. I need to buy me a proper hole punch because all I have is a 3-hole hole punch, and sometimes I can't quite get the shape of the shrinky dink inside of it just right. So it can be a lot of fun. I think that's one thing I want to add to my markets, and then I can also draw out something and then do a template and use that template every time. So I would have a cohesive looking little charm or something, or, that's actually an idea. I can make little charm bracelets with those little shrinky dink charms, they can just be small ones. That would be fun. I don't know, just ideas. Just ideas. That's what I got going in my head. But I also wanted to do a little dabble in paper crafting. I have a Cricut. Ooh, that Cricut would be really good for drawing too. I think that would be a really good way to draw on the plastic. So, oh shoot, I broke that. Usually that doesn't break. Okay. This is a big twist posh, which I'm so gonna miss. But I hope one day we'll be able to have that again. I think somebody's got to recognize there's a need for it. There is a need for it. People want it. Someone's going to supply it somewhere, somehow, some way. Even might be underneath a different brand. 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay. Yeah, I definitely need to get online and see if I can get to the next market. And then I still have a little bit of hesitation for doing the last weekend of the month. And the reason being is usually on the last weekend of the month, people are trying to hold on to their pennies because, they got to pay their rent, they got to pay their mortgage. And so sometimes I'm kind of wondering, like, maybe I should not do this market because I don't not want to make money, but I don't know. It's hard to say, because I've done a market before, and it was like the last weekend of the month, but we were indoors. And I had paid a lot of money for this particular market. Like I paid like $150 for this market, and I didn't even make my money back at all whatsoever. I hardly had any customers. I produced more than I had sold, while I was there. And it was just really disappointing. And I think that was the last, and I think that was a really good lesson for me because I was thinking like, okay, this is July. July is going to be No, it's at the end of June. The end of June, almost July, was going to be hot, and I just didn't want to be out in the heat, and I just think it, just didn't work out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. So, and then I was like, you know what? That to me, that because everybody that came in through that particular market, um, they're older, and they were just like, seriously, they were like elderly and everything. It's like, the old people bus pulled on up and let them all out, and they were just looking around to see what they could see, and nobody had any money to spend because they probably ain't got their Social Security checks yet. And I hate saying it because I know it sounds kind of unnice, but sometimes for the business side of things, sometimes you got to think about that. Because I'm on disability myself. Okay, I live off my disability check. It's not much. It's not much. I live on less than $1,400 a month without my markets, and that's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing, and it's frustrating. So I understand these people are pinching their pennies, and I am too. It is not easy. If I didn't have my roommate giving me some rent money, that would be really, really tough. And so like I'm looking to get a job with the school district, go back to them. But we're at the end of the school year now, so I'm just gonna sign up for it in August or July, August, and see if I can get in with them, and then I'll get some benefits as well, and I can do that part time. If I did it full time, I probably would lose my disability benefits. But if I do it part time, I can probably just do that because it's hard for me to get any place because I don't drive. And if I can get someplace on the bus, that would be a lot easier, so on and so forth. I do have paratransit. So paratransits, that can be a little expensive because now they've gone up to $3.50 per ride. It used to be $3 a ride, now it's $3.50 a ride. So that's, if you do ride there and a ride back, that's $7 a day. So if you did that, 5 days a week, that's $35 a week for transit, and so I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It just depends on where you go, but it's not but with the paratransit, I can ride the bus and I can also ride the train for free, which is nice. And sometimes I will utilize the snot out of that free bus ride and that free that free train ride. Please come in handy, but getting across town is like an hour, anywhere at minimum an hour to get anywhere. And it's like it's a little over a quarter mile to get to the closest bus stop. So then, but that just comes part of your everyday commute. So it's not an impossible thing, but I'm not the spring chicken that I once was. And so I'm thinking like, well, maybe I can, take the paratransit to work, so and make sure it gets me to work on time just in case it rains or something like that, or it's bad weather or anything like that. At least I'll have a secure way of getting to work, and then I can take the bus home. So that would cut the cost in half for every day. So I don't know. 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Why do I have 19? Let's just have 18. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Alrighty. So, okay, on my garden side of things, okay, so I cleaned up my grow room. So I have this, my house is really old. It's like built in the 50s. And someone had converted the garage in half. So I have half of a garage. So basically, it's just glorified laundry slash storage room. I actually even have a refrigerator in there too, washer and dryer. And it's just, that's kind of where I have my lawnmower and everything like that. I don't have any outbuildings. But so basically, it's just glorified storage area, laundry room. And the other half used to be the previous occupant's office. And so it's like, it's a decent sized room. It's okay. It's about the size of an office. And so we are converting that to our grow room. And so we have grow lights up and everything. And that's where that's where I store my seedlings and things like that. So right now, I've got all three of my different tomatoes growing. So all my red robins are growing, which are like the little cherry tomatoes. I got an orange tomato and green tomatoes. Those are all. I think if almost all of the orange tomatoes are sprouted, and then some of the green tomatoes have sprouted. Not all of them. Out of the 6 okra I planted, I've got 4. So I've got 4 okras. None of the bell peppers sprouted. I've got 1 zucchini that sprouted. And out of 6, I just got 1 zucchini. I had like several, I got about like 4 butter lettuce bloom coming up really easy. And those are the fresh seeds too. The butter lettuce, the fresh seeds, and so were my pickling cucumbers. So I'm going to have pickles. So I only really want to make pickles this year. So I'm going to have pickling cucumbers. And I had those in a 6-pack as well. All of them have bloomed. Actually, they bloomed first. Not bloomed, but, sprouted. And then today, and I was really complaining that, none of my herbs are sprouting. I sprayed them down on the top, like give them a good mist on the top. And I noticed today tiny little sprouts for my Korean mint. And I was like, yes, I finally got some mint, some kind of mint whatsoever. I've never tried Korean mint. I hear it's kind of licoricey, but it's okay. I like it. I would love to get my peppermint sprouted, and I would love to get my dill sprouted, but they're just not sprouting for me. I also have a couple of little pots of romaine. So, and then my kid was here yesterday. I went out, and I showed him the little baby strawberries I have growing. They're already starting to develop, they're probably about like a 1/4 inch long, and they're still really green, but they're just cute. They're just cute little strawberries. And so I showed her that and everything that I had going in the backyard. And hopefully, fingers crossed, my strawberries are going to do good. But my bed is overcrowded. Like the strawberries, I planted about like 8 or 9 strawberry plants, and they just spread. That entire bed is just full of strawberries. There's like no room. It is so overcrowded, but they're there. So I'm excited that I have strawberries. All right, so I need to do that too, and then I'm going to do a bobble. So we're fingers crossed we're gonna have strawberries this year, and we're gonna have some good ones. And I put tulle over the flower bed but over the raised bed, and so the squirrels and birds don't get it. And then in the raised bed that I have my green bean plants in, still something was digging in there, and I think it was a squirrel because I have like wire paneling laying over the bed, and the grids are like about this big, okay? And the reason why I put that there because I didn't want a cat to go to the bathroom inside of my um, raised bed because that's what's been happening, And like I'm like, weeding my bed, and there's like the dirt's upturned and everything. It smells like a litter box. I know, gross, right? So I had, just did that, just bent over the ends and just fitted it over the bed. And yesterday I was out there showing, and there was like a hole in the dirt, and I was like, really, what's been like digging around in my bed? And the only thing small enough that would fit underneath that would be a squirrel. These squirrels have been the bane of my existence lately because they're up in my attic, and I'm trying to figure out how to get them out of my attic without having to pay for somebody to trap them. But the thing is that, I got to figure out where they're getting in at. And I think I found a hole because I had to take my awning down because I had a limb crash down through my awning on my back porch. And I finally took it down the other day because it's just so mangled. And I finally took it down because I just was so afraid like a good old windstorm is going to come through and just rip it off, and then it's going to hurt somebody. So I took the time to do that, and I saw like this hole right underneath where the awning was, and I was like, and it's just big enough for a squirrel to squeeze his fat butt through. And I'm like, yeah, this is where you're getting in at. I think this is where you're getting in at, or one of your entrances. There's probably several, little buggers. They're cute. That's it. Little tree rats. I always say Mr. Squirrel's going to get it when the apocalypse happens. He's going to be squirrel stew. It'll look mighty tasty after a while. Need to join the other color. And then, like one time I even had I had pulled up a pecan that had a sapling growing out of it, pulled it out of my flower bed too. And I was like, that little stinker bearing the pecans in my bed. And I got all these little volunteer, elm trees everywhere too. I'm going to get those yanked out. And I was talking to my roommate about like a good spot to put the okra at. And I was like, okay, I already got an idea. Because it needs lots of sun. But love me some okra. I'll pickle them too. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 here. Then I'm going to do a bobble. Okay. All right, you. Okay, come on. Come on, don't be. Ugh, I gotta do it again. Okay. Hmm. Oh man, my finger hurts. Hmm. And it's my pinky too. It usually doesn't hurt, but my pinky was hurting for a second there. Okay. Getting old sucks. Okay, so that's one. Okay, so that's 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, okay, I see what I did. I put my bobble in the wrong spot. But no, I didn't really do anything super fantastic for my birthday. Um, all I really, my kid, like I said, my kid came over yesterday. It was her day off, and we played some card games. We played around a Carcassonne. Um, we colored on the Shrinky Dinks and stuff like that. We talked a while. We caught up. Um, ordered food. We had some local tacos, and you um, it was just really a really nice, calm, casual day yesterday. Like I didn't really get any crocheting done. I started, like I said, I was cleaning out my grow room. It was really quite a mess, and um, now that I'm taking on the mantle of being the gardener as well for the house, I'm learning so much. And so, like, my roommate's like telling me, he's like, "Hey, you need to wash out, all these pots." And I was like, he's like, "I didn't get to it, and I'm like, crap, I got more dishes to wash. So that's what it feels like. I was like, oh, crap, I got more dishes to wash. But, I figured like every time I do dishes, with the last bit of my water inside my sink, I'll wash out some of these pots and some of the 6-packs and things like he's used in the past. Because he's saying that it's a really good way to help keep the spread of disease down, or fungus or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, that's really smart. It's a really good idea. You know, I didn't know that, that's what he was doing. But yeah, really good idea. And I was like, oh, I learned something new. It's pretty cool. Um, let's see. So that's the thing I got to do now. But, I just figured like if I just attack it a little bit at a time and, um, just work on it like that. But I've also been thinking like, I want to get to start making more wearables. Um, so I'm also thinking about like doing to make one side of my tent, like to make it part like the wall, and call it my slow fashion wall, you know. So these would be things like, like shawls, blouses, crochet blouses, whatever, and just call it the slow fashion wall, And then if anybody asks what slow fashion means, it's like, well, these are just things that take time, to make. And, So I would like to dedicate a little bit every day to work on something along those lines, because that's what really makes me, that's what I really like to do. I like to make those types of things. Like I'd rather make a shawl, or I'd rather make, a blouse, a hat, scarf. I also need to start building up my hats for the winter, you know. Um, so I'm thinking like I would need to dedicate doing a hat a day. Hats don't take that long. They take maybe an hour, depending on the pattern that you use, depending on what you make it with. And like, so it just depends, like my biggest bestseller for hats is like the mega chunky beanies. And, I was using like number 7, plied yarn and making, crocheting those hats. And they were like, take like 30 minutes. And they're just like, it's just super, really thick texture, and they're crazy warm. And so Hobby Lobby's got some great yarn for that, So I have purchased some of that, and I want to start making hats with some of that stuff. And it's just a really nice, thick texture that makes a great hat for the winter. And and again, it's just super simple. I think it's like half double crochet. It's just basic. Just the thickness of the yarn just sells the hat, because it's just so dang chunky, and a lot of people just really like it. And again, it's one of my best sellers for hats. So just and just keep it simple, and just put a really good looking palm on it. You're good. I think that's the only thing I also need to do is I need to get snaps for palms. I have some pom poms, but I need to get some snaps, because I think that would be a better seller. Like I've got some magnetic snaps, so that actually might be really good. But I think I can probably get them a little bit cheaper than say buying them over there at Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby, they're about like $3 or $4 each, for a set. And I'm like, it's a little expensive for me. So maybe I can find them a little bit cheaper, maybe on Amazon. I know some people are like, Amazon, like, Amazon kind of saves my bacon, you know? I'm kind of like, ooh, Temu, I'm like, no, Temu's sweatshop. But of course, Amazon's probably not much better. It just depends on you. And some people are like, ooh, Hobby Lobby, and I'm like, well, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Hobby Lobby. They're their own company, and their prices are good, and they have a great selection. They have a great variety. You know, um, ethics wise, they have the right to do what they want. That's part of the thing of America. If you don't have to shop there. you know. But they have their own following. And I like Hobby Lobby yarn. I like the fact that it goes on sale every 2 weeks, like every other week. I like that idea myself. It's handy. And even if, and their buttons are really affordable too, and they're cute. Um, and everyone's usually very nice at Hobby Lobby. I usually don't have a problem with the way things cost. It's slightly inconvenient that they're kind of closed on Sundays, but you know what? I mean, I remember back when I was a kid, you know, Walmart was closed on a Sunday. And we liked it. uh, got itchy. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, I remember all the stores being closed on Sunday, and it was fine. Everything still ran fine. Like as long as you had your gas stations open, you were fine. You know, all the stores were basically closed on Sunday, especially in small towns, and we were okay with it because everybody went to church. I gave everybody the opportunity to go to church if they wanted to, and that was cool. You know, it was a simpler time back then. That was back when kids used to play in the streets, and they don't play in the streets anymore. Not to the same magnitude. Um, um, yeah, we loved to play outside when I was a kid. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Alrighty. And then, yeah, we used to go down to, we'd like beg, like my mom and my stepdad. Can we have $1? So we can go to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee. So we get like the giant Slurpee, like this big, you know. And then we fill it up with half Coke and half cherry. And then we'd walk back, just the three of us, slurping on our Slurpee. We'd just sit there and pass it between the three of us. Yeah, those were the good old days. That was a lot of fun for us just to go walking down to the 7-Eleven. Okay. All right, now I need to add my safety eyes. Oh, I need to cut that. Where's my scissors? Where are my little scissors? I don't see them. Oh, I got the big ones. I know I had them just a moment ago, right? I don't know. I did something with them. These are a little bit dull because it's what I usually open up packages with. So mail and packages is usually what I use. The other ones, my smaller ones, were just like, kid scissors, school kid scissors. I utilize my nephew's old school supplies, because practically almost every school year they got like a new pair of scissors or, new spiral notebooks or just folders and stuff like that. And I use those things all the time. Like, like for instance, like I was talking about, like the templates for the Shrinky Dinks, I would definitely store, templates in that or, print off patterns and keep those in there in some of those old, um, folders with the brads and stuff like that. That's a great way, and then what I should do is I should get some more of those from my nephews because my sister will just throw it away. She's like, she'll store it in the closet upstairs and she'll eventually just throw it away. Yeah, because we're just not really utilizing it, not really using it. And I'll just go in there and grab some and print those off, and those are what I will take me to markets, you know, because I don't want to use my phone to look up um, patterns, you know, because then that bogs my phone down, uses up my battery and everything. And that's what kind of what I was doing on Saturday because I had a lull between customers. I was crocheting a carrot bag for this bunny rabbit I was making, and it was like every few minutes I was being seen staring at my phone. Oh, darn it. And I don't think that looks professional. You know, somebody walks in and my attention is not on them. You know, it's different if I'm like crocheting because it looks like I'm actually working. But if I'm looking at a phone, it doesn't look professional. And you know, that's not cool. Okay. So let's put these eyes in. Sorry, that's my roommate. He's coughing. Somebody's at my front door. I don't know who it is. Hold on. Hold on one moment. I'm going to put this on mute. Sorry, guys. Thank you for waiting. Somebody's trying to sell me some internet, which actually I might change over because I need to save some money. Yes, yes, yes. So that might be a thing. So that might be a good thing. Anyway, what was I talking about? What time is it? It was 2:10. Okay, so putting in safety eyes with these little guys. And it looks funky. I don't like it. There we go. There we go. Looks all right. Okay, and this doohickey right here is great. So this one's actually made of wood, but you can actually even find them in plastic. But I really like the idea of that it's wood. But the only downside to the wood is eventually, I think, maybe this would just wear out. You know, because wood can be a little bit soft sometimes. But these really help put the backs of your safety eyes on. Really handy. And I always use this one. I never really get up to this big, you know, but just in case one day, you never know. I still want to make those tarantulas. So there's this African flower tarantula pattern that I've been eyeballing for like 2 years. And I really want to get it because it's just cool, you know? And like I just really, really want that pattern. And I want to try to make it. It's a lot of sewing, I'm sure of it. And you know, I'm usually a no sewer, you know, but I'm just like, but you know, it's cool though. I don't want to get a pattern and then I turn around and hate it because I have to sew it. But the thing is between doing a pattern that, you know, that I don't think is cool and then a pattern that I do think is cool, I think, you know, because I have an idea of what the outcome will look like. I don't know. Okay. There we go. Here we are. Just use just a little foot out. There we go. All right. So from here, I think I need to do another round and then put his feet in. I feel like it's time for me to make a green tea. 1, 2, 4. 6, 7, and 8. Is that a good placement? Yeah, it is. Okay, that lines up pretty okay. It's just ever so slightly behind the other one, but that's fine. That gives them a broader base, and it's okay. So that will work out. Am I supposed to decrease on this round? No, it's next round is supposed to decrease, I think. I'm trying to remember. Like, it's not a hard pattern to remember. It's pretty basic. But if all else fails, no, because I can only decrease in 2 rounds, and that would be the second to the last round. So maybe I need to do bobble here. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna check. Huh. So weird. Anyway, okay, let me double check this pattern real fast. Instagram, it's an Instagram pattern. And I need to go here. Also, I wanted to make these lamps. I've been thinking about doing too, and I think they would be really cool. And I also want to do the macrame plant hangers. Those are really cool. I want to do those. So I'm trying to like determine like what I'm going to make. And summertime is really good for these types of things because people, here they are, little axolotl. People, there it is. Okay. People like those types of things. Okay, let's see here. All right. Three trail bubble, single crochet. That's 18. Okay. All right. And then decrease 7 single crochet, 7 decrease single crochet, and that brings me down to 10. Okay. All right, let me get back to you guys. All right. Sorry, guys. He's having a bad day. Bless his little heart. He's not been doing so hot lately. He's having a hard time breathing. And part of it's allergies too. That's on top of everything. 1, 2, 3. 5, 6, and 7, and single crochet. Okay. Also, also concerning the slow fashion stuff, thinking about like doing handbags as well. I guess I also need to start to focus on doing bucket hats as well. Though I kind of like want to leave the bucket hats to, my friend over there at the other market, the Garland Market. She had some really awesome looking bucket hats back in February. She had like those checkered bucket hats and everything like that, and so I'm kind of like, maybe I shouldn't try to make those because I don't want to take her business away from her, and I'm, it's just I don't know. To me, I'm just kind of being weird like that, and I'm not sure what other crocheters are really making. I don't really go out and scout what everybody else is making. But I think it'd be a good idea to make some bucket hats at least, or different types of hats. Maybe not necessarily a bucket hat, but maybe another type of sun hat. Maybe make one with a good brim, like a wire brim, maybe. But then I was also thinking like, I've got some really great old crochet patterns. And one of them actually is like a crochet cowboy hat. Like, we're talking about like from the 70s, I think, is in this old pattern book. And yeah, just some really cool looking old patterns. And I'm like, well, maybe I can, now that, we've got like way better yarn, something that's, decent. Because like that yarn back in the 70s was so scratchy. Like all that wool, all that old acrylic, and it was all scratchy. And then I do have some old yarn that someone had given me, and I think that super old yarn would be perfect for making the lamps that I'm thinking about making. So I bought some balloons to make these lamps, and so I think those would be a really great thing to make with the lamps for sure. Because it's just like it's so rough and it's so old, and I'm like, let's breathe some life into this old yarn. Like the gentleman who gave it to me, the yarn used to belong to his mother, and she's been gone for about 30 years. And who knows how long she's had it. So, and I've got, and he's also, she used to be a potter too. She used to do ceramics. And I have several of her ceramics like around my house. He's given me as gifts. And then when my stepdad passed away, he had several of her pieces too. And so I kind of took a lot of it. Like I've got a lot of her ceramics like around the house, and they're, I think it's really, really cool because it's like, to me, they're, it's nothing special by any standard, like it's not like museum quality stuff, but it's something that somebody had made, that somebody that had made with their hands. And I'm just like that's so cool, that they had taken the time to paint. I've got this cute little cake plate that she had made. Let me show you the cake plate. It's adorable. It's like right here. Let me go get it. Really dusty. But she hand painted it and everything. And there's a lot of stuff that I have. It looks like this. Just a beautiful cake plate. And I'm just like, I really like that. I think it's really lovely. It's like she hand painted it and fired it and everything. And I think it looks really beautiful. And I love pansies. Probably one of my favorite flowers. I got lots of her stuff like that. But I have value of things like that, and I just really hope that people have the same ideology that I do, putting value of those types of things. Oh, was that my? Hope that wasn't my sewing needle, because I need that here in a minute. Okay, so that's my. Oh, did I not? I don't think I got it out. Did I? But anyway, yeah, these are some of the things I want to do. And then also, to make fun garland. And I'm sitting there thinking, we got Cinco de Mayo coming up, and I'm like, what kind of fun thing can I make especially for Cinco de Mayo? And then I was sort of going, no, don't do anything special for that, because, people might think I'm trying to appropriate or something, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong thinking that way. But I love our Mexican culture here in town, like, in the majority of my neighbors are Hispanic, and Those are some of the best neighbors. Really good people. Um, they have they beautiful homes and makes my house look like old and dilapidated sometimes. Like both my neighbors on both sides are um, Hispanic, and I'm just like, and they're both their houses look great, and I'm like the sore toe sticking out of the, I'm like, my yard doesn't look as good as your yard. But my lawnmower is almost fixed. I ordered the parts that I need. Um, they're supposed to come Friday, so hopefully on Friday they'll be in, at least Friday night, and then maybe by Sunday, maybe even Saturday. If I'm not going to do a market Saturday, on Saturday I'll mow the lawn. It needs it. It's so bad. It's so bushy. It's embarrassingly bad. I'm probably going to get cited by the city if I don't do something about it soon. And his leg is too big. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just me. Okay, it's just me. All right. Let's see. And then, okay, and then I need to do the tail and then 4 decrease. Okay. Alrighty. Almost done with this little guy. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do. So the round never lines up, right? With the tail. It's just the way that my tension is. It just never is the right way. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's do the tail. The tail is super simple. And then I think I changed how I was going to do the tail. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know what I'm doing now. Okay, and then this is going to be a single crochet. Okay, so I'm going to leave a long tail for sewing in. Here's my scissors. Slightly longer. Okay. He's almost done. He's almost done. Okay, so cinch it in. Yeah, I really feel like I need that cup of green tea. I woke up like at 5:30 this morning on my own, but I went to bed a little bit early. Like usually I stay up until about like 11:30 midnight, and I think all that rich food that I ate kind of sat in my belly a little bit, made me sleepy. It was good. But it was like I've had better food from them though. Like I've never had taken their food. I've never had their food as takeout. Like ordered it from like DoorDash or anything like that. And usually we go out there and because they really don't have like a restaurant. They do have a couple places you can sit. You have a couple tables you can sit at and eat, but it's not. It's more of a takeaway place. It's inside of a gas station, so The reason why you see gas station, restaurants, taquerias, things like that, um, because it's easier to get approved by the health department in a gas station. Like the rules are a little bit different um, for them as opposed to like a standard restaurant. It's just easier. So that's why you see a lot of taquerias in restaurants. Little delis and things like that inside of gas stations. It's like the zoning type kind of thing. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but yeah, really good. Usually, really really good tacos. But they didn't quite turn out as great. It's like they kind of were in a hurry. They must have been in a hurry. There we go. There we are. Two little axolotls. We got the little tails. So they've got the little tails and everything, and this is just right for the clawed machine to come and grab it, you know. And everybody really likes them when they see them. They're kind of really big for my claw machine, but they're just about the right size. It makes them easier to grab. Um, but a lot of people really like it, and they're almost like too big to fit into the hole. Like I have to go. I have to like really push them in. But yeah. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm gonna head on out. But thanks for staying with me. I'm gonna see you guys on Thursday. And then I'm just gonna do Maker Studio on Thursday. I don't know what what I will be making, so we'll see. And hopefully I'll be done with all these little axolotls that I'm planning on making. I'm just gonna make about like a dozen of them, and I've already got 4, so I just need about 8 more to go. So just trying out different colors. I only have like a little bit of this aqua green left, and I think that's enough for gills for this next purple one that I'm going to make, and then I'm just going to move on to the next colors, whatever I have left in this, of this polish. This is the last of the polish of this color for me. So anyway, all right, guys, see y'all later. Y'all have a good day. Ta-ta for now. Bye.